new options. How are you feeling about presenting them to the council?
Well, we are ready to do that. Again, one of the things that we wanted to point out was that the options that we brought today extend a little bit longer the time frame within which we would be able to accomplish the improvements, but it does mitigate the level of the rate impact each time there is one, and so we feel like that may be a little bit more palatable. But at the end of the day, we're still trying to make sure we accomplish what we need to do in the upgrades.
So the years that we are going to have to wait for this infrastructure, is that going to affect people in their power or potentially having even more issues because we're not fixing the ones we already have?
Well, let's put it this way. I gave an example in there when we talked about reducing outage minutes by 50%. We were projecting to be able to have that done, the vast majority of that done prior to 5 years, but certainly within 5 years. Either of the two options that we presented beyond the original plan would probably extend that into at least a 6th year. So it's just going to be a matter of what the appetite is for that type of delay.
What are the changes that you just presented there, the aspects to the rate changes that you'd want ratepayers that you want to highlight to them to know about?
Well, the biggest thing that I think in each of the two new options that we've done is it reduces the impact of the increase. Each of the two options reduces the impact of any increase in 2019. And in most cases, the options will reduce subsequent increases from what they were previously proposed to be. However, the flip side is, for example, is that we do have an increase planned in both of the options for 2020, but we did not have any increases planned in 2020 under our original option. So the question would just be having options 3-4 years in a row, increases 3-4 years in a row, albeit smaller increases, versus a larger increase now, no increase next year, and a smaller increase in the subsequent year. So it's really options for them to consider.
What happens if council members say we do not want increases, period? That obviously makes your job a lot more difficult. Where do you go from there? Obviously, there's some time for them to think about this,
Sure.
Look at the plan, and you all come back in 2 weeks. But what if some of them still don't want increases? How do you convince or move forward from that?
My framing of that is I would believe that a no decision, while I get the fact that it's probably about the increase, it's really more about the infrastructure improvements and our ability to make the level of infrastructure improvements that we believe we need to make. So saying no to all of it basically is saying that the infrastructure improvements that we need to make today, that I believe we need to make sooner than later, we're deferring those. And what that again means is that to the extent that we don't make those investments and make those improvements, then outages and links in particular of outages just get more frequent.
Can you reiterate the kind of things you are going to need to work on? What infrastructure projects, what kind of things do you need upgrading?
Probably the largest investment that we're thinking that will make the biggest difference is a combination of two things. It's distribution automation, which will allow us to do switching a lot quicker when we have issues that we're going to have, whether it's from weather or trees or car hit poles. The second thing is to be able to increase our tree trimming cycle so that we can have better tree trimming. And then thirdly, we want to hire more crews to be able to improve our underground infrastructure, where we have customer outages that extend quite a long time. In our budget proposal, we have the addition of additional crews to help with that. So those are three things off the top that I think would have an impact on customers.
Can you just clarify when you talk about the increased tree trimming, what is the cycle that you're on now versus what would you like?
Well, we're trying to move to a 3-year cycle. We're closer to a 4-year cycle now. And the plan in the budget is to get us back to a 3-year cycle.
There were some concerns last time about more on the benefit side of things versus the rate increases.
Mm-hmm.
What changes have you made that you hope, or do you think that the changes you made in some of those benefits, what are they? And then do you think that will convince some of those council members that were on the fence because of those?
Well, one of the things that we wanted to do was, number one, clarify some things around. That's why we provided a fact list around the benefits that are provided to our retirees. We had a perception out there, a presumption out there that a lot of folks are working for 10 years and retiring with full benefits. We had to clarify that. Number one, you have to be 60 to retire with 10 years. Number two, that's only 4% of our retiree population. We are not making any proposals to change current employee or current retiree benefits. However, we are considering changes for new hires, and that's the message we're wanting to get out there. However, even those changes, we wanted to make sure, because again, in the utility industry, our landscape is different. If you will do a search and look out there and see what happens with utility benefits, we have to retain employees. Tenure really matters in our business because of the nature of what we do. So our benefits are very important, unlike other industries maybe. So what we're wanting to make sure is that whatever we're looking at is consistent with what's available in the industry. It's been my experience in my 36 years in the industry that the benefits that we do provide retirees is consistent, but we want to validate that, not just go on what I think. So we're going to go through the process over the next couple of weeks to validate that.
And to make these changes for both these new options, what did you sacrifice in order to make these rates lower? I know you said you added the 6th year for at least one of the options.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it, or what else?
Well, I think of it in terms of, again, it's more of a timing. So our timing of accruing the revenue that we need is delayed in each of those options, and so for most of those options. And so one of the things that we're trying our best to do in all of the options is go ahead and do what we think we need to do regardless of which option is chosen. But the biggest change that we've made is timing around getting those things done. Okay?
And then I was just gonna ask you, in terms of what we were just talking about, in terms of the changes to like the pension benefits and things like
Yes.
that, do you think that they really need to be changed because like the OPEB has been funded and that's a pretty solid, depending upon solid from what I understand. So is it like, does it need to be changed, or is it like a public perception that it needs, is that what's pushing it, is the catalyst, is it the public perception or that it really needs to be changed?
Right. So what I would
gotta go
say
get
is
martinis.
that the benefits that we provide for our retirees now are benefits that they've earned. And so, and for employees who are currently employed, their benefits are benefits that they've earned. And so we believe that probably it's largely, as I said, a perception issue around when employees can retire and the benefits that they get. Let's be clear, our average pension for our average retiree is about $32,000. They don't pay any Social Security, and they have to pay any medical premiums out of that. So if you think about it, no one's getting wealthy retiring from MLGW, and no one, so if you think about it from that perspective, even employees that retire after 10 to 14 years, their average pension is only $14,000 a year, and they still have to pay their medical benefits out of that. So I want to make sure we clarify with folks, what the real deal is as opposed to what the perception might be. Folks have earned those benefits, and I don't believe in taking from people things that they've actually earned. I think that's important.